good soup.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined today by Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to preview another episode of Game of Thrones, Episode 3, The Big Battle, The Battle for Winterfell. We're not sure about the title. They've been keeping those under wraps. For what reason? I don't know. But we are back, and we're going to jump into this preview trailer like we do. Nothing from you. Keep the intro snappy.
Well, no, that was, well said.
The most heroic thing we can do now is look the truth in the face.
The Night King is coming.
The dead are already here.
And the first voiceover of this little teaser trailer is Sansa. She says the most heroic thing we can do now is look truth in the face, as we see some Unsullied getting ready.
Yeah, that first shot of Grey Worm, dead. Sorry, putting on his helmet for the last time. But it is an interesting line by Sansa because it's a sign that they're putting aside the politics. It's now they have to face the truth of this situation, that this threat is here, it's real, and it's staring them down. They have to stare it back, and then they can deal with who governs over the North after everybody is dead.
Yeah, I wonder how this is going to play out. I wonder if it's going to be are they just going to sit there for a while and kind of just intimidate the hell out of them? Because, that's like some...
First person to flash their lights.
Well, they play mind games with them, and they just wait, and the Night King just comes flying over with Tyrion, and it's like, all right, now we got to fight now.
They do that, and I have some theories about what he's going to be doing in this episode, but yeah, that's what they're known for. They play those mind games. They make you wait. They make you come to them, and then he always has a plan. Even in Beyond the Wall, I don't like the execution of the episode, but the plan is clever when you break it down. I just wish it was... I just wish the narrative was a bit more fluid in that episode. And
then we see Jon and Dany looking over Winterfell, presumably where the dragons are. They look to be looking down from afar.
Yes.
So maybe that's where Drogon and Rhaegal are. And
we saw them separate at the end of the episode, right? Maybe this is Jon running after her.
Yeah, seeing her off or just being like, hey, listen.
Trying to continue that conversation.
Yeah, listen.
I don't want to be cake.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want you to think, she needs to have a clear mind going into this battle. So I think Jon might be trying to write that. We do see Jon in the field later on, so maybe this could be probably not going to hop on Rhaegal here, but I'm sure we'll see that at some point.
And like we said previously, Rhaegal knows how to fight, so I think it will be a moment in which Rhaegal saves Jon. I'd really like to see that happen still.
Kind of reminiscent of...
Yeah, Drogon and Dany.
Yeah, season 5 finale. We see a couple flashes. We got Sam and then Sansa and Arya together. It's just like every flash we get, it's just everyone just looking like...
Yeah.
What?
It's happening.
Yeah.
Sam is watching the soldiers walk by, and he's going to be on the field. He elected to stay on the field instead of being in the crypts, and it's going to be the first scene between Sansa and Arya this season.
Where do you see Sansa, her role in all this?
I don't know if she's going to be in the crypts. We actually do see her in the crypts in one of the set photos.
Okay.
So I think her role, she's been one of my favorite parts of the season so far, and she's the political head of the Stark family. But I think this episode she takes a back seat. I think she's safe. I don't think she dies.
Well, we've seen her in this situation before, but
yes,
she's the one in charge now instead of Cersei.
Right.
Whereas Cersei could care less. She was just getting drunk and pretty much speaking the harsh truth. And Sansa, and it was put on Sansa to kind of sing some hymns and lighten the mood a little in the crypts.
I think she's actually going to do the same exact thing.
Yeah. Because
I think that's going to be a moment where she shows everybody, she shows the audience that I still have that good-hearted Sansa within me. Even though I can be very cold and stern, I also know how to be compassionate, and I think she's going to display that in this episode, but I don't think she plays much of a role. Arya more so. Arya is going to be the one who's on full display with all the skills and the fighting techniques. But yeah, the first scene that we've seen between them in Season 8.
We see Tyrion here, and he looks to be in the crypts. It's kind of that same setting and background. I'm with you. We were talking about it in the spoiler discussion. I don't think he'll be there for long.
No, I think he's got something up his sleeve, and I was wondering if he was going to make it to the crypts in time, but you made up a good point that the army just might be waiting, so they have some time to maneuver, walk around, get some of the smaller scenes, interactions between characters before the chaos begins, because it's going to be a battle that just keeps going and going and going. There's not going to be a lot of pausing. Probably none at all. But I think Tyrion has something up his sleeve, and it goes back to the scene that the conversation that he had with Bran. What did he learn? What did him and Bran plan together? I think we're going to see that in this episode.
Yeah, because there was, I think a lot of people online were kind of upset that we Tyrion, the person who craves knowledge, is sitting down with the all-knowing Bran, and they cut.
Yes.
But it could be just a technique where they're not trying to spoil the surprise, where, yeah, they did talk about some stuff, and Tyrion learned a few things, and we might see that on display this episode.
Yeah, what they've done in Season 8, too, is every single moment matters. Everything has come back, either later in the episode or in the next episode. So that wasn't just a throwaway scene. But we also see Varys, Gilly, Lil Sam, and the others in the crypts. And the popular theory is that the Night King is going to resurrect the dead. You know, people are saying, if this guy can resurrect the dead, why are they putting all the women and children in the place with all the dead people?
I was thinking, because Marissa brought up the point, like, have we seen him resurrect someone that hasn't been killed by a white or a White Walker?
Yes, which I think he should be able to.
But when you think back to, remember when Stannis saved Jon and decimated Mance's army?
Yes.
And Jon urges him to burn the dead?
Right.
Obviously, he doesn't have any real information on the Night King and the White Walkers, but at that time, he pretty much suspected, yeah, these people can be resurrected, even though they weren't killed by a White or a White Walker, and nothing he's been through should really change that perspective. So I feel like it's just such an obvious thing that they left out. People have been talking about it all over the place. So I don't know if they have a plan, a contingency, or they just think the bodies are too decrepit and
is it at this
dust
point?
At this point,
it's a plot hole at this point because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand, maybe they just don't know the extent of the Night King's powers. That he's not even thinking about that. They're just underestimating him in that moment. And obviously those are women and children. They are not innocents because in this war he's coming for everybody. But those are the people that you obviously want to protect. It does seem like a lapse of judgment here by Jon.
How long does it take for Bone to... skeleton.
No, they should be skeletons. And we've seen skeleton whites that if they've got weapons... And they've got weapons down there because they get buried with their swords.
Yeah.
So it's not only the Kings of Winter, it's all the previous members of House Stark, right? That's just all of them. That's all the boys. So we're going to see Headless Ned coming after Gendry.
And there's a couple more flashes. Davos on the battlements.
I think he might be dead.
I don't know. I hope not. I feel like he still might have a role to play. And then flash to Jorah, who...
He's dead.
I think is dead.
Super dead. Yeah, a lot of these characters in the previous episode, it felt like they had their final moments, almost, their goodbyes, that their arcs wrapped up. And we saw with Jorah the moment that he has with Daenerys where he says it broke his heart that he wasn't named Hand of the Queen. But he encouraged her to listen to Tyrion. It's almost like he passed the torch.
Yeah.
He said, this guy knows the game. Nobody plays it better than him. So you need to trust him. And I think it's a character that if he died, it would be emotional because that's a dude from the pilot, man. He's been there since day one, so... I don't want to see him die, but I think he's one of those characters that almost has to die.
And going back to the crypts real quick, I was just wondering, maybe if we see Jon, or it's not even spoken, but we just see in the crypts there's a few Unsullied, or there are some foot soldiers there, just in case, like with some fire, ready to go.
Well, don't put the Unsullied down there, because an enclosed hallway, they're going to be screwed.
Yeah, Ironborn, right? They're just protecting everybody.
Ironborn,
but maybe that's, it's not in any set photos, but maybe if they're just on guard ready, maybe they just thought of that, and it's like, all right, we'll have the fire ready and Dragonglass ready, but there really is no other place for them to go, so the crypts make the most sense. Even though there could be this threat here, we'll be ready for it.
Ilan Payne.
Yeah.
They've got him down there.
We hear Jon say the Night King is coming.
I like this little switch up.
And we see...
it's not the Long Night, it's the Night King.
As we see Jon in the field.
I don't know. At first I thought he was in the Godswood. This doesn't look like the Godswood.
Oh, okay.
Do you think it could be? I hope it is.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, there's a moment with Theon later in the trailer where he's got an arrow.
Yeah. Well, they said...
I can't wait to see what's going on in the Godswood.
Well, they said... I saw this on Twitter, actually, yesterday. It was a callback to when they first hear about the... Lannisters and Starks starting up their whole tension, and they're in the Godswood. It's Maester Luwin, Sir Roderick, Robb, and Theon. And Maester Luwin makes a comment to Theon, like, well, what do you... Something along the lines of... You can play the clip.
If it's what they want, if it comes to that, you know I'll stand behind you.
Is there going to be a battle in the Godswood? Huh?
Theon's back in the Godswoods.
Oh, man, this show is brilliant at times.
Yeah, so I don't know who tweeted that out, but good eye. And
he's dead.
The guy who tweeted it out?
No, Theon.
Okay.
That guy survives, I think so. He's got a role to play in the coming episodes.
But Jon does say the Night King is coming. It implies that he's not there yet, because we didn't see him when they first came out, and we haven't seen him in this promotion. So maybe... It is a point, because we have a lot of dialogue here where it seems to be calm, the calm before the storm. So maybe they are just sitting there and It's like, oh, what's going on? Where's the Night King? It's like, oh, the Night King is coming. Just wait. And then that's before all the chaos starts.
I am very interested in the callback that they made to Whispering Wood, because that's something that they haven't mentioned since, season 2, maybe? Jaime says, I failed at Whispering Wood because Robb Stark, Olenna actually brings it up in season 7 to him.
And you took your army, your real army, and went where they weren't.
As Robb Stark did to me at Whispering Wood. There are always lessons in failures.
Yes. You must be very wise by now.
So for them to mention that, and there's been theories, there's been speculation that the Night King might not even be in this episode, that maybe he did split his forces and that he's going south to flank them, or if he's going south with different intentions. Another idea that I wanted to bring up was Bran's vision of the dragon flying over King's Landing. A lot of people are thinking that could be Viserion, because we never see that shot of Daenerys. Even though she was in King's Landing with her dragon, we never see that shot specifically, and we've seen every scene that Bran has seen in a vision. A lot of scenes there.
Wasn't that? I thought that could have been Daenerys, because it looks like it's King's Landing.
Well, we've never seen that exact shot, though, from the vision. I'm saying it could be Daenerys because she did fly over King's Landing, but we've never seen that shot play out where it's like, oh, that's what he saw in season 3.
Well, sure, because King's Landing looks to be like a summer in King's Landing.
Yeah.
From that shot, so...
Well, it could be daylight.
Yeah.
Because even that shot with
Too used to
Cersei.
New York, where winter just means no fucking sun.
Right. Yeah, that is true. It's an LA winter.
And there's a flash outside Winterfell, and it's interesting the alignment of the soldiers. We have the Unsullied right outside the gates, a few rows deep, and then what looks like the Dothraki in front of them, and in between them is those... I'm going to call them catapults. I don't know what they're called, but they catapult objects.
They're not catapult.
They catapult objects forward, so I'm not totally wrong. And then it looks to be some foot soldiers on the bottom right, just hanging out. But yeah, Dothraki look mounted, Unsullied behind them. We already know Brienne having the left flank. It's interesting to see where they position the rest of their soldiers. Yeah,
and how well they're going to fight, because they're in winter conditions. They've never fought in the north before. We saw what they could do in the open field against the Lannister army, but this is an entirely new army. And you wonder, because the Dothraki are superstitious, if they kind of like start losing it a bit. They see all these dead men, these skeletons. I wonder if Daenerys has told them what's going on. Like, do they even know what they're doing? They're like, oh, fight? Okay. And then they see a bunch of skeletons. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
You didn't sign up for this.
I could see them being super religious like that. And the Unsullied, once again, they're almost like the Army of the Dead themselves, where they are so robotic. Seeing these great warriors, these renowned warriors in the show and the books on the field fighting against the Army of the Dead, it's what we've been waiting for. And
it looked like Jorah might be leading the Dothraki.
Ooh, I like that, Jorah the Andal.
Yeah, and then we see...
They always respected him.
Yeah. You see maybe Jon taking the Northmen, Grey Worm obviously leading the Unsullied, and we see Brienne with the...
Knights of the Vale.
Knights of the Vale. You see the Sigil of House Aaron with Jaime, so that makes sense too, because that's kind of where Sansa came from, right? You've seen the relationship between her and Lord Royce throughout the previous couple seasons, and Brienne is kind of... She's fighting for Sansa in this battle. And Arya's running in what looks like the crypts, maybe?
And people have brought up the similarities to Season 6 when she leads the waif on that cat and mouse chase and traps her, kills her.
That's just her go-to move.
Yeah, it's a good move, but this time she looks terrified. With the waif, it almost looked like she was faking the fear because she was just leading her into the trap and she knew it was going to work. Here she does look scared, and she was talking tough in the last episode that I know death. I've seen his many faces. I'm looking forward to seeing this one. Maybe this is a moment between Arya and the Night King. Maybe this is her final moment. If she sacrifices herself in some way, if this plan fails, maybe that's a weakness of Arya, her overconfidence, because everything that's been thrown at her, she's been able to defeat. Maybe not this time.
Well, it could be, too, they have, no matter how confident in your plan, it's still, they have dead men running at you.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a White Walker. So, I mean, I can see them, they know the odds of them coming out victorious isn't that great, so maybe they got a little creative. They set up these traps, maybe in the crypts, maybe they set something up, and maybe Arya's leading them to someone else standing there with a Valyrian steel sword or a dragonglass dagger. I would like to see that. They got like really smart and creative, and they just have all these tricks up their sleeves that we haven't seen yet. And a quick flash at the Unsullied again. They're going to be heavily involved, obviously. And then we see the Hound and Beric, and they look to be inside, and something gets Sandor's attention here. Maybe they breached a wall, and because there's a lot of shots of people indoors that weren't intended to be indoors.
Mm-hmm.
So, or maybe this is just an outpost or something like that, but I have a feeling like they're going to get breached, and they're just going to fall back to the last possible place.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you don't think the Hound is going to die in this episode. I don't think so either. I think he's one of those characters that he just survives again because he's obviously one of the best fighters in the show. I think Beric Dondarrion is a character that falls. Kiss of life for the Hound. Beric, the Hound falls. Maybe Beric brings him back because the Hound's always making fun of him for coming back to life. It's like, well, now you're coming back to life. I feel like Beric, though, he kind of stressed that in the last season that he's here for something bigger than just bringing somebody back. So maybe they reworked his arc from the books. Obviously, bringing back Catelyn was a very big moment in the books, but I'm very curious as to how Beric's story ends. I don't think he just simply dies in the battle.
Well, I can see them transitioning that to Sansa or Arya.
Yeah.
Makes sense because they're daughters, but yeah, it's interesting to see why he's been brought back so many times, right? Like, what role does he have to play?
Yeah, because it's different in the show. So hopefully they have something clever in store. This shot, though.
Dany on Drogon?
This shot... It's brutal. It's literally the middle of winter. You can't really get a good look at her. That's been one of the problems of this season. Can't see anything.
Watch season 1. It's so bright.
Yeah. But he's looking like the Black Dread in this one. The Black Dread reincarnated. My boy Balerion. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
I know.
And we've speculated they've been hiding them from all the promotion for this episode. They didn't really do much in the trailer. The one shot where Drogon's in the dark and he set something on fire, but this is them in an aerial battle, it looks like. Yeah. So maybe he reunites with his brother.
Oof.
Yeah.
You look different. Yeah, seen better days. Theon with his flaming arrow, kind of a callback to the man he was in season 1. That was always his thing, the archery. So there
was another callback to the scene where he saves Bran from the wildlings, and Robb says, "Why did you take that shot?" He was like, "Because I saved your brother. I didn't hesitate, and I saved his life." So it's coming full circle again, where he's fighting in the God's Woods, like Maester Luwin said, and he's protecting Bran.
I would like to see a little more of that season 1 cockiness from Theon, but still...
Cockiness? I don't know if you're going to see any cocky.
Oh, man. I like to see... I'd like to see more of that season 1 charisma out of Theon.
You want to see Theon show some balls?
But just like that, that archery, like how he was in season 1 where he was kind of full of himself. Not to the extent, maybe, he's still the same Theon that he is now, but...
It's confidence.
He kind of just gets his groove back, and he's like, finally like, oh, this is...
a good fighter.
Yeah.
When he was in his prime. I mean, he still technically is in his physical prime. I mean, losing, that sword, doesn't hinder your abilities in any way. Yeah, I'd like to see that too. A little swagger in his step.
Yeah.
The way that he pronounced the Ironborn, said, "I'll defend you with the Ironborn." That he's found a way to embrace both Greyjoy and Stark. It's come full circle. He's had one of the best arcs in the show, right up there with Jaime and Arya and Sansa. He's one of the best characters in the show. He really is. And Alfie Allen, if this is his final performance as Theon in this episode, he's one of the other ones. He's another day one since the first episode.
I mean, last episode we saw a couple moments between Theon and Sansa too, so that was nice to see. Obviously they have the connection of both dealing with Ramsay. Yeah, it would be a fitting end if Theon goes out protecting Bran. Like you said, full circle. His last redemption is to make amends for what he did to Robb and the Stark family.
Now, do you think this is Jon in the Godswood whipping out Longclaw?
You just want to see Jon in the Godswood, huh?
I hope it's Jon in the Godswoods.
It's so chaotic. Even these shots are just like it's.
Well, he's been separated from a lot of the group in his shots. Going back to the first couple of trailers.
Even the first trailer, I feel like he was with a few men. I think that shot when he's running around, I think this might be the beginning of that. Just seeing Jon, like he's a veteran at this point now. Like he's in his element, so he's really going to be looked upon by everyone else it was their first experience facing this threat. He's going to have to be first in line, stand strong, barking out orders, trying to keep somewhat of a calmness around everyone and confidence while absolutely getting massacred. So he's in a real tough position, but yeah, I said it before, man. This is setting up to be a fucking absolute bloodbath.
Yeah.
And not the whites don't bleed.
No, yeah, they don't. I wonder what they're discussing, and it has to be a continuation of that conversation from the last episode with Daenerys and Jon. And Daenerys, it looks like she's cutting the conversation short, where now she's saying, we don't have time for any of this. The dead are already here.
Some authority,
wow,
too.
The tables have turned, huh? Yeah, she does say it.
She steals all his catchphrases. I'm not a Stark. Come on.
No, you're not.
That's me.
I'm not a Targaryen. No, you are a Targaryen.
What? If you could be a Targaryen, I could be a Stark.
I'm a Blackfire.
Oh.
like we said, it's going to be a continuation of that conversation, and there's going to be obvious tension between them. And I wonder if Jon gets it off before the battle begins that I don't want to be king, but I think it's Ryan Seacrest hosting American Idol. When we come back after the Battle of Winterfell, does Jon want to be the king of the Seven Kingdoms?
Text no to
1-800-Winterfell.
Send a raven.
Yeah. And this is a great shot at the end.
Brienne, Knights of the Vale, alongside Jaime. That left flank.
Jamie
never looked so good.
Yeah, it did. He looks so awkward, though, holding that sword.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get, he's putting on his mean face. It's like, we know you can't fight with that hand, bro. But, it's
competent.
Yes, he is competent. He did well during Spoils of War.
Yeah. Well, Deckon did save him.
Brienne is super dead. That's an arc that came full circle. I mean, somebody's got to die. Biggie Smalls said it. People have to die in this episode.
Brienne's a tough one, man.
Remember Beyond the Wall when we were like, 5 of these characters aren't coming back? It's just Thoros, yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but Brienne looks like she may be a goner. Especially at their last episode, that one's going to be a little heavy. It's like a little verbal meme. It's like, did you become a knight? Yes. What did it cost? Everything.
Well, hopefully she doesn't lose that sword. Jaime picks it up. Somebody gets that Valyrian steel. They can't afford to lose those. So if Jorah and Brienne fall, somebody's got to get those swords.
And this episode has been hyped up to be the longest battle of film and TV history, but you got to think Cersei Lannister is not going to be in 2 straight episodes because she wasn't in episode 2. So we've seen this multiple times throughout the series where Battle of the Bastards, perfect example, where we got some Dany in the beginning and a little in between. Then they let the battle play out. So you think we'll get some King's Landing here?
I think so, yeah. I think it will either be in the beginning or the end. Mm-hmm. That this episode might feature the end of the battle because we've been left with 2 cliffhangers. The first one was Jaime coming back to Winterfell, and then this one was almost the beginning of the battle. I think we see a definitive end where they get defeated, and maybe the episode does end with Cersei in King's Landing. And obviously, it's so hard to pinpoint how Cersei's story is going to end. How does she reunite with Jaime? I do think we'll definitely see Cersei in this episode. Because
I'm in a weird position because I firmly believe that Cersei will see Jaime or Tyrion again. It's possible that it doesn't happen, right? So it is possible the Night King goes south or something along those lines. So she's really, with the North, you pretty much know what's going on. Yeah? We're getting ready. Night King's coming. And King's Landing, not so much.
Yeah.
So
I hope Bronn is coming up to Winterfell.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think Bronn is, everybody's saying he wouldn't betray his friends. I think he would.
Maybe he just left.
Somebody said that too, that he just took the wagon of gold and went to Essos.
Or he just sees what's going on. It's like, nope.
Well, he knows what's going on because he was at that meeting with all of them.
Yeah, but I don't think he's expecting fucking all-out war with Night King riding a dragon.
Just the gif of Homer Simpson's father walking into the bar, tips his hat, walks right back out. Takes his wagon of gold.
Here, Bravos is lovely this time of year.
Yeah, all this is not worth a fucking castle. But I do think we'll see the Night King in this episode.
Yeah.
You have to. Because after this, you only have 3 more episodes. He's been built up to be the main villain of the series. And I still think it goes beyond the Night King at the very end. But let's see him.
Yeah. Well,
let's see what he's got.
My theory I threw out there was that they win this battle somehow, and they turn to Cersei, who is the real villain of the series. That's kind of I think that would be a cool subversion, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't like that as well. It's like you hyped up the Night King all this time, and we see him just die in one episode after this big battle. But yeah, I can't wait, man. It's I don't think I'm ready.
No, I'm not ready. But you know what they say, whatever it takes.
I do hope we see what you said that you wanted from the Night King with the Valyrian steel.
Yeah, this is my theory, is that the Night King is going to find his way into the God's Woods. Jon pulls out Longclaw, goes to kill him, thinks he's got an open shot, and the Night King just clutches it. Grabs it.
Man.
It says, you think Valyrian steel is your ally?
All that for a drop of blood.
All that, imagine he shattered Longclaw.
No.
It's not even that he catches it and then he fucking shatters it.
In Hardhome, I screamed when he grabbed Longclaw. Like, don't grab Longclaw! And it held up. I'm like, yeah!
Yes. No, maybe he doesn't shatter it, but he does catch it. And then he just tosses Jon or something. But I'm anticipating something epic between Bran and the Night King in this episode. I think Bran might get into a dragon, but yeah, Night King's going to be in this episode, and this might be the best episode of television ever. So I'm anticipating this. I'm anticipating Endgame, which I already saw. It was very, it was a movie. So
yeah. That was very vague. I respect that.